This hourly segment is sponsored by Garden Sense, airing Sundays 12 noon to 1 p.m. Now, Jake Hartford on 890 a.m.
Got to cinch it up and hunker down right here, buddy.
Sing along, children.
We do no wrong. Keep the worthless sight out of harm's way. We built this city for a better day's fight. We can take the knots.
This, of course, is an Australian Union song.
Union through and through.
We need some good Union songs here in the U.S. 6:07, hour number 2 of the Awake with Jake show right here on WLS. And hey, later on today, after Paul Bryan gets through at 8 o'clock with Drive Chicago, and you've got Bruce Wolf and Dan Proft at noontime with their show, a truncated show, 1 hour, because at 1 o'clock, Chet Kopic with the Notre Dame pregame show right here at 1 o'clock, and at 1:30 they switched to the Notre Dame football game today, kicking off the college football season. Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, play the Boilermakers of Purdue. I like a university that has a nickname named after a drink. You got to like that. So anyway, that's right here. Then after the game is over, Chet will be back with the post-game show, and then sometime after that, don't have the exact time, it'll be Eddie and Jobo. But don't worry, they will be here. You will get your 2 hours of them. So that's what you got to look forward to today. 591-8900 is the phone. We're going to get right back to your calls. I was just reading this story about there's still no update on these 2 guys they arrested, went from Chicago to Amsterdam. There were 2 guys from Detroit. One guy flew from Birmingham, and they were suspicious of this guy when he got on the plane to Chicago. And they both were supposed to, I guess, go through Washington, D.C., but they changed it to nonstop Chicago-Amsterdam. And they checked their luggage, and they let these guys go. But look what was in their luggage. And I don't see anything more on this story. They had, the law enforcement people say that they did not have any prohibited items on them, that everything they found in their luggage was okay. But however, they had knives in there. Okay, people have knives. I'll give you that. But then they had several non-functioning cell phones taped together. Okay, maybe they wanted to keep those cell phones without banging around the suitcase. But then they had another phone was taped to a Pepto-Bismol bottle. What, the phone wasn't feeling good? And a knife and a box cutter in their checked luggage. You know what? And they let them go, saying, well, we don't think that they were up to anything. Then nothing wrong. Okay. Tell you what. If you're traveling today, Miss Dill Pickle 82 is traveling today. I wonder if I got an old cell phone at home. Think I can tape it to a Pepto-Bismol bottle and I won't tell her? Oh, she'll be in for some fun today. She'll enjoy the strip search, I'm sure. God. I'm not telling people to do that now. If you have an 80-year-old grandmother traveling from here to L.A., do not do that. Maybe put the cell phone to a Geritol bottle or Metamucil. God. It'd be okay. And if they say something to you, you say, look, Chicago, Amsterdam, they let those guys go. William and Joliet. Good morning, William. What can I do for you? You're on WLS.
Good morning, Jake. How you doing?
I'm fine. I'm in a good mood today.
Good. I just find it completely amusing, these people that bloviate about Bush's spending and Obama's spending, because they just reveal their total ignorance of how the legislative process works. They need to read the Constitution. All spending originates in the House, then goes to the Senate, and then the president signs it. Cast your mind back to when we were kids, to that little cartoon, I'm Just a Bill, sitting on Capitol Hill. That explains the legislative process. The president doesn't have the authority to all of a sudden say, $10 million here, $50 million there. It has to be originated in the House of Representatives.
And that's where the Republicans were spenders too. They went along with a lot of the spending. But
Without a doubt.
But when the Democrats took over in 2006, it escalated.
Yeah, but my contention is that your last caller said, that Bush created a lot of the problems. The president doesn't have the authority, and I'm not bashing Bush or trying to support the president or President Bush. I'm just wish people would be a little more factually informed about how our government actually works.
Well, when President Obama was running for office, and I remember this night like it was yesterday. My older son was playing a hockey game. It was a snowy night. It was February. It was the night of the South Carolina primary. And we got in the car after the game. It was snowing, and Obama was giving his victory speech. And he started going through all this stuff he was going to do as president. And my son was going, wow, that sounds pretty good. And I started telling him, I said, no, earmarks. I said, he's not going to cut the earmarks. There's no way he's going to cut earmarks. And he didn't. His first bill he had when he got into office had, 9,000 earmarks on them, and he could have vetoed all of them, and he didn't do it.
Oh, sure.
And
that just buttresses my point.
Yeah.
All that originates from the House.
Exactly.
And the Senate.
And the same thing with the lobbyists. He was going to eliminate the lobbyists. Well, he didn't do that. The first thing he did, the first week in office, he had to ask for a waiver to his own executive order because he was hiring lobbyists to be on the staff.
I think there were 4 of them in the first week alone.
So yeah, he said all this stuff when he was running. There's going to be change. It won't be the way things were done in Washington, but it's been worse than the way things were done in Washington.
Yes, to a certain extent, it has exploded. I mean, according to the Congressional Budget Office, the day Obama came into the office, the federal deficit was $453 billion.
And everybody
now it is at $1.5 trillion.
Well, everybody talks about all the money that was spent on Iraq War by Bush, but what Obama has spent in the first year, the $1 trillion is more than the Bush spent on the Iraq War for the 8 years. So.
Oh, I mean, just according to the Congressional Budget Office, they just released a report 2 weeks ago. The total cost of the Iraq War from start to when the troops pulled out was less than the stimulus bill that Obama passed in February of last year.
And my problem with the stimulus bill is the way that it was like every cockeyed idea that anybody had for years and didn't have the money to spend got thrown into that stimulus bill.
Oh, exactly. Well, you have a good day, Jay.
Thanks, William. I mean, there's stuff they still could be spending on infrastructure. They're not even close to what they can be spending on infrastructure, should be spending, and they're not spending. Go figure that out on the summer of recovery. Ralph on the south side. Good morning, Ralph.
Yeah, Obama's problem isn't earmarks. It's
just, yeah. I don't, no, we're just not going to. I've got to get to something, because I promised this on the Facebook. Oh, I didn't explain, if you were with me since 5 o'clock, and if you didn't hear the 5 o'clock hour, you can go to the WSAM website, and you can get the podcast and listen to it. Every week we do a special open, and this week we had Paul Harvey in there. It's his birthday today. He's dead, of course. He was born in, how old would he have been? Like 1918 he was born. And we played part of a famous thing he did, A Letter from God, which I think if he did today he would get in trouble for doing. We also had sound from Richard Castellano. Would have been his birthday today. It is his birthday. He's dead, though. He died. He was in The Godfather. He was, remember him? Clemenza. He was in the first Godfather. He didn't do Godfather 2 because his girlfriend wanted to write his part. They said he was a very nice guy. It wasn't money or anything, but the girlfriend insisted that she write his dialogue. And that didn't happen, so he didn't do Godfather 2. He was in it, and the third person we had in there was Dick York. But the part we played today was from The Untouchables. He was born in 1928. He was famous for being in Bewitched. And I always get him confused because Dick Sargent was in Bewitched too. And I don't know which one. Was it Dick York came first or was it Dick Sargent came first? And then that show switched because they switched Dicks in the middle of the show. So I always get confused on who came first, who was second on there. But that was where the opening of the show came from today. So I promised I'd get that out of the way. The other thing is, I put it on the Facebook, and if you want to become a Facebook member, you can. It's Jake Hartford Show, and asks to be a member. And we let most people in, and then we throw them out. And we have fun during the week. And one of the things I put on this week, the Sun-Times the other day, and I love the Sun-Times, love the bright one, they had one of the most useless stories in a newspaper I've ever seen. The headline was, and it's very short, I'll read it to you, what those codes on plane tickets mean. And I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute, this is good. You know how when you go through security, sometimes they give you the full thing, or sometimes you just go through the one thing, or sometimes they'll pull you over and they'll go through more of your stuff, or they put you in the puffer. And I thought, God, this is what this story is going to be, about those secret codes. They scribble them as you're going through. Well, no, this story wasn't that. It says, there are a few bits of information to pay close attention to on airline ticket. You've got the flight number, the gate number, and boarding time. Fare basis code, not a common concern. But the single letter code divides passengers into classes based on how much they paid and how far out they booked. There are about a dozen in coach alone. The main way to improve your code is to pay more. Now, when I read that, I'm thinking to myself, why would I want to improve my code? Do you get special? Do they give they give you a smile when they look at your ticket and you go, oh, look, he's got this code. So you're paying to get that smile? No. The story goes on to say the letter airlines assign can vary, but a few are universal. Y class, highest class in coach. Last minute, priciest coach fares purchased. J or C, business class. F and P, first class or premium. Q, discount fares. That's it. What a waste of space. There's a whole bunch of codes they could have got into, but I thought they were going to do the security one. When you get the, you get the triple S, the 4S, and the one very few people get, but you have to watch out for. It's the BS. Anyway, 6:19, Awake with Jake, where you have sports coming up, and also at 6:30, we're going to attempt something never attempted before on a live radio show in this studio, on this station, or probably the rest of the city or the world. Anyway, 6:19, back after this in WS.
Hello, Americans. I'm Paul Harvey.
Awake with Jake.
What a bunch of power-mad beat-offs.
Jake Hartford, 890 AM, WLS.
We are fed up with Washington. We're fed up with the liberals. We're fed up.
News happens here
For every vote in the state of Florida,
first.
Stopping the Democrat agenda. I keep telling you, I'm not a liberal. I'm an American.
Re-election to the United States Senate.
Be prepared for a liberal Republican Party, because that's what's going to happen.
Keeping you connected to the stories that matter most.
Washington has hurt us.
890 AM,
made in America.
WLS.
What are you doing on Sunday, September 12th? Paradise Park Assisted Living and Memory Care is having their National Grandparents' Day picnic in the park from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Bring the family for a day of fun in the sun and enjoy free parking, free admission, free food, free children's games, free entertainment, and raffles all day. This Picnic in the Park event is located at Paradise Park Assisted Living, Fox Lake, 16 Lilac Avenue in Fox Lake, Illinois. Paradise Park Assisted Living offers a campus of multiple 16-suite homes for their assisted living and memory care communities. Each building serves just 16 residents who are cared for in a smaller home setting, is surrounded by gorgeous trees, flowers, and fountains. Homemade meals are served 3 times a day, snacks anytime, and entertainment and activities that just don't stop. For details on the Picnic in the Park event and more information on Paradise Park Assisted Living communities, call 847-437-HOME. That's 847-437-4663. Or visit WLSAM.com, keyword Paradise.
It's summer. College students are back, and you're driving on summer vacation. If you ever get in an accident, our exclusive Gerber Collision and Glass financing program can help you with your insurance deductible and repair costs completely interest-free. And with our 100% satisfaction guarantee, your car will be fixed right the first time. For a host of money-saving coupons and store locations, log on to GerberOffers.com or call 877-7-GERBER today.
Gerber Collision and Glass.
Gerber Collision and Glass. We come highly amended.
With me today is motorcycle owner Dan. Like most people, Dan is looking for ways to save money. He tries to save on gas by roller skating to the grocery store.
It's hard carrying all those bags.
He uses a hand crank radio.
It's a good workout.
And he even cooks by candle heat.
The scented ones give great flavor.
But you don't have to be like Dan, because Geico makes it easy to save on motorcycle insurance. To see how much you could save, visit geico.com or call 1-800-442-9253.
Now is the best time to make the Sears big switch to Energy Star with incredible Labor Day savings. Get 30% off all Energy Star qualified appliances from Whirlpool, Samsung, and Maytag, and 20% off all other Energy Star qualified appliances. Plus, get an extra 5% off all appliances with your Sears card. Search Sears Appliances online for our everyday best prices. Hurry in today. Sears. Exclusions apply. See store for details. Extra 5% offer ends 9/7/2010. Remaining offers at 9/9/2010. For home offers at Sears.com.
I will not recreate the Sistine Chapel on my bathroom ceiling.
I will simply repaint it.
I will not spend more time waiting to get help
than it takes to paint a room. I will go to Ace and get what I need fast. I will be finished.
Then I will watch the Kung Fu movie marathon.
Get in, get help, and get on with your life. Get 20% off all Royal Paint and other select paint supplies at Ace, the helpful place. Offer valid on regular price items only through September 6th at participating stores. No rain check, store stock only. See store for details.
Do you suffer from painful, unattractive varicose veins? If so, it's time to call Dr. Garg at Veins Without Surgery to find out if the latest non-surgical laser treatment is right for you. This outpatient procedure is covered by most insurance plans. It only takes about 45 minutes, leaving you with no downtime or missed work. The procedure won't leave any scars or stitches, but will leave you with better, healthier-looking legs. Call 877-898-LEGS. That's 877-898-5347. Or visit veinswithoutsurgery.com. Savvy car shoppers have been waiting for this, and your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers are ready with their end-of-summer Labor Day event. You already know that now is the best time ever to switch to Chevy, but right now is the best time to buy. Incentives are strong, but you must move quickly. Your Chevy dealers have the winning inventory and deals on Malibu, Traverse, Silverado, Equinox, and Impala. It's time to drive Chevy. See your Chevy dealers or ChevyDrivesChicago.com for details. Concussions and sports-related head injuries can affect anyone, children, teens, and adults. Learn more about the symptoms and treatment of concussions and the time needed to recover. Visit MaryandJoy.org for more information.
Get the news you need to know about with ABC News updates just minutes away on 890 AM WLS. This is Real Estate on Radio on 890.
Joe, they want, but then they forget. It's Jake Hartford. The Awake with Jake Show. We're just trying to see if you're paid attention today. Don't forget, Monday, 2 o'clock, I'll be in for Rokon and Roper. And we have a special Something WS wants you to know we're going to have between now and 7 o'clock. But right now it's time for sports. And is the bandwagon still going?
White Sox! White Sox! Go, go, White Sox! Let's go, go!
The Bears bandwagon is still in the barn. Because they don't bring the bandwagon out for the preseason.
You're always in there fighting, and you
They're just going to turn it on like ComEd a week from this Sunday against Detroit and play like an NFL team. Because God knows they haven't played like that in the preseason. Anyway, the Sox are our team right now. Until they're out of it, then I switch right back to the Yankees. Here's Joe Rosansky with the sports.
Good morning, Jake.
I'm sorry. I love the Sox. I would like them to win, but when I look at teams in the major leagues, I think of the Yankees and how well they were run. And people go, oh, George Steinbrenner, who passed away this year, this, that, whatever. But you know what? He put the money back into the team. He could have put the money into his pocket. And you look at the report that came out the other day, and I know I'm eating up all your time, Joe, The report that came out the other day about those real small market teams like the Florida Marlins and whatever that got all that, they get that money from the major league, the rich teams.
Right.
And they made a profit, but what they did, they didn't turn around and reinvest it in talent. They put it in their own pocket. And
That's right.
Yeah, but Steinbrenner spent the money, so how could you hate that?
Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Did the Yankees win yesterday, Joe?
They did.
Of course.
The 7th time in a row.
All right.
They beat Toronto 7-3. You'll never guess who was the winning pitcher. It was Kerry Wood.
Wow, that's good for him. And you know what? And any stupid Cub fan who thinks Joe Girardi's going to leave the Yankees to come to the Cubs, you're stupid. Anyway, go ahead.
It doesn't seem likely. Well, Tampa's doing well, too, but they're a game and a half behind the Yankees. Now, the Sox are they didn't play yesterday. Hurricane Earl made it rain in Boston. They're going to play twice today. They'll play at noon, and they'll play at 6 p.m., so it's a...
day-night doubleheader.
Yes. And...
I just coined that phrase.
The Sox haven't won 5 straight since the end of July.
They are. Now, what did Minnesota do yesterday?
They won.
So the Sox are, what, still 3.5?
No, they're
4. 4 now. Okay, 4.
Yeah, Minnesota's been funny. They, if you just check the score before 10 o'clock, they were losing almost every day, and they came back and won just about every game. So they're 4 games up.
The Sox still have a 3-game series against Minnesota.
Yes.
But the percentages, if you're looking at the percentage of the Sox overtaking Minnesota and winning,
it's not very good.
I think it's around 16% now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we're gonna keep our fingers crossed and hope that Manny Ramirez pays off. It's a $3.8 million gamble for Kenny Williams.
Well, God bless him.
I mean, they'll have him for 30 games.
Well, if he can help them win, then fine.
Right.
It's not my money.
That's true. And the White Sox actually talked to the Dodgers about getting some of their Manny wigs. So now Manny will cut his hair, and they won't be useful anyway.
Oh man, it's just everything is Manny.
Well, when you're not in first place, Jake, there's got to be. The Sox are trying to get people to come to the ballpark. Kenny Williams was telling everyone during the week, it's important for fans to be walk-up so we can get money, so we can get players.
Well, Kenny Williams does a lot with the money he has.
He does.
And it's going to be interesting to see how Henry on the north side, if he could even come close to what Williams does on the south side.
Well,
because he's been used to big budgets, spend.
Right.
And now he's going to find out he doesn't have the money. What does he do?
Well, let's hope he can find some teams to take some of the high-priced players. Yeah. But the Cubs will probably have to eat some of the contract anyway.
All right, Notre Dame plays today. They open the season against Purdue. That'll be on starting 1:30 here. Chet with the pregame at 1 o'clock.
Right.
On this station.
Notre Dame is favored by 11 points.
And then the Bears open up the regular season a week from tomorrow.
That's true. They'll be playing against Detroit. And, I don't know what the big deal is. They haven't gone 0-4 since 1998. The Indianapolis Colts went 0-4 this year. You don't hear people criticizing them. The Colts didn't play their quarterback Manning, 2 of the games in preseason. You're not hearing them being criticized.
Except that the Colts have a lot more players that are really good, and they know how to play. But the Bears, they better take learn from Jesse Jackson, and they better watch their team bus when they go to Detroit, so it's there when they get out of the game. So it's not stolen like Jesse's Escalade was the other day.
Well, the Bears have to get down to their 53 players by this afternoon. So far, they have 75 players on their roster after the Cleveland game. And the 2 people that Bears fans have probably heard of are Tim Shaw, the special team guy who...
he's gone.
Yep, he's gone. He He was very good, but he was just a special teams guy.
And who's the other guy?
El Alfalava.
And what about him?
He started 13 games last year and suddenly became stupid.
Wow, just think which means the other 53 players will all be better than him.
That's right.
All right, with that, I have to say goodbye, Joe. Say goodbye, Joe.
Take care, Jake. Have a great week.
He never says goodbye, Joe. He always says take care, Jake. Bye, Joe. That's Joe Rosansky with the sports. A truncated version. We have, when we come back, some unfinished business from last week, and we'll try something never before attempted in this studio. All that and more as we continue to Wake with Jake right here on WLS.
Don't stop now, boys. You're listening to Jake Hartford, 890 AM WLS. When weather happens, stay informed with comprehensive forecasts from the Weather Channel on 890 AM WLS. This is Jake Hartford on 890 AM WLS.
6:37. Awake with Jake, Saturday morning. Dr. Bob will be back with us next Saturday, and maybe even Monday. This Monday when I fill in for Rowan Roper at 2 o'clock. We will have something WLS wants you to know in a few minutes. A little unfinished business from last week. Those of you who were listening to the show last week, and I know most of you are, and if you can't, you can go to the website, WLSAM.com, get it on the podcast. We were talking about that lawsuit here in Chicago about the woman who took her teenage daughter, into a McDonald's, went through the drive-thru. The mother handed the cup of hot chocolate to the daughter. The top came off, spilled, burned her, and she was suing. And we got into talk about the hot chocolate. And right at the end of the show, with very little time to go, a woman called from Milwaukee, a woman by the name of Olga, I believe. And she questioned how hot the hot chocolate was. She thought it was really hot because she said I believe she was a chemist or studied chemistry. And she said because there's sugar in hot chocolate, because I said the boiling point of water is 212 degrees. And they have to keep it, according to the health department, at 180. You do it at 180, and it gets down to, you have to keep it, at 120 or whatever. And she said, no, it's way higher than that because of the sugar has to melt. And I said, no, that's not right. And I questioned her ability to, I guess, to question, because I asked her, I said, the table of elements, I said, what's NaCl, to see if she really knew her chemistry. And I gave her an easy one because I figured back, when she was learning chemistry, there's only like 14 elements back then. And whatever. And we ended the show, and she wasn't happy. But apparently, some listeners, and you know who you are, called station management. And station management, well, okay. They took me to the woodshed. Because you were very unhappy with the way I treated this Olga from Milwaukee. And I tried to explain my position. I said, well, I have to. My listeners, when something is said that's not right, I owe it to my listeners to challenge that. But I kept getting back, well, she was from Milwaukee. And I said, yeah, but she wasn't right about the temperature, and I didn't want people to think that. And it was, well, she's from Milwaukee. And I said, well, but the boiling point of water, but she's from Milwaukee. And I'm thinking, okay, if she's from Milwaukee, if she's talking about beer or bratwurst or cheese, maybe. But being from Milwaukee doesn't make her a hot chocolate specialist. At that point, things weren't going well. And I could have been off for a week. But then I thought about it. Well, the show is a 2-hour show, and if I'm off for a week, that's like 84 weeks before I get my off the week part. I wouldn't be back until the spring of 2012. So I said, Mr. Hayes, how about this? If I can prove to you that hot chocolate isn't hotter than 212 degrees and that woman was wrong, will you just let this pass and forget it?
Solution now might be the time.
And he looked at me. He said, kid, I'll give you the chance. Let's see if you can prove it. So I'm proving it. Since the news came on, we have a little burner in the studio. I know we're not supposed to do this, but a few years ago, Don and Roma, I think, barbecued a pig in here. So I take that as precedent. So I have a little burner in the studio. I have some water about to boil, and I have. And folks, do not try this at home. I'm a trained professional. Actually, not trained professional in anything like this. I have in my hand a packet of Nestle hot chocolate mix. N-E-S-T-L-E-S. Nestle makes the very best. In case anybody from Nestle is listening, it's Jake Hartford, 190 North State. What I'm going to do, I wish you can see this, but we don't have the camera in here. When the water gets to a boil, I'm going to pour it into a styrofoam cup. Then I'm going to open the packet. First, actually, do it the other way. Just open the packet now. Let's put the hot chocolate into the styrofoam cup, and when the water boils, I will pour it into the cup and stir it, and then I will drink. All right? The bubbles are starting to bubble. When you're cooking at home, and you want a nice rolling boil. You just don't want the little simmering type boil. You want a rolling boil. I think we're just about there. All right, here we go. Let me pour it into the cup. Stir it around. Take out my WLS combination pen and stir. And let's drink. Very good. 212 degrees. It's made. Because that's what water gets to. 212 degrees before it boils. Didn't have to go any hotter. Didn't have to go to 300. I think I proved my point. Although my tongue is burning right now. That's hot. But it wasn't more than 212. That's the point. So I think I'm fine. But again, do not try this at home. After you pour the water into your chocolate and you stir it, put it into the freezer. Let it freeze before you have it. Anyway, let's move on from there. Thank you very much. Now, if you want to call again and complain about this, go ahead. 300 degrees for hot chocolate. Jeez, what, I just get off the bus? Anyway, we know we have a feature here that we have on this show every week, for the most part, when we think about it. We know you can't listen to WLS 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we like to pull something from one of the shows that we think that's something you should hear and take with you during the day. You can talk about it at parties, if you're going to a party tonight or something, or anywhere. While you're listening to the Notre Dame game today on the radio this afternoon, and there's a break and play, you can talk about this. This was from the Roe show, Roe with Roper, but I think Roper was on vacation, so it was Roe and whomever. And this is very unusual in that there was a prayer being said on WLS. Here's today's Something You Should Know.
And now, it's time for Something WLS Wants You to Know.
Lord, the Four Seasons in Nevis, they can't get an insurance rider so they can build their hotel rooms close to the ocean. So let us pray that very rich people will have a place to go hide their money.
That's today's Something WLS Wants You to Know, heard exclusively on Awake with Jake on WLS.
I know. They were praying for the Four Seasons Hotel so they wouldn't be damaged by the hurricane. You got to have your priorities. Should have been praying so his car wouldn't have been stolen. They were talking about the hurricane. David Price was on with Roe yesterday from the hurricane area. I think it was at Kills Devil Hill, North Carolina. David Price at the Chicago Auto Show some years ago, when the Toyota Sebring was just a concept car. I was at the auto show with David Price. It was a Chrysler Sebring. Okay, I'm sorry. In case anybody from Chrysler is listening, it's Jake Hartford, 190 North State. But I was at the Chicago Auto Show, and this was before it opened. It was like not a lot of people around, and we're walking around, and David saw this car. He says, he looked at the trunk. He said, "That's a pretty good sized trunk." And he said, "Gee, I wonder if I can fit in there. If he can fit in there." So I said, "Why don't you see?" So he opened the trunk, got in the trunk, And he said, wow, look at this. Look at all this room. And at that point, I slammed the trunk lid and said, Dave, I'll see you in about an hour. Of course, I didn't really go anywhere, but he was pounding on the trunk immediately. And we let him out, and the rest is history. He's now on the CBS Morning Show. But they were talking about the hurricanes yesterday, and, you know, they were scaring the bejesus out of people all week, not just all over, all the networks. It's coming. It's going to hit the Carolina coast. People evacuate. Stop your vacations. And I got to thinking, it's like they really wanted this big storm, and people were evacuating, but then it turned out to be nothing. Not much of anything along the coast. Because that's the way hurricanes are. They're kind of, they do what they want, because they're big. They can. But then you wonder, when the media gets people so hyped on these things, and then it turns out to be nothing, then you wonder at what point do people get warned about, hey, you better evacuate, this big hurricane's coming, and they say, you know what, you cried wolf so many times, we don't believe you. Like Katrina. The people in New Orleans were told 3 days before, get out of New Orleans. I remember sitting that Sunday at the airport at O'Hare, waiting for a plane to go to L.A., and right next to me was the gate for New Orleans. And we knew what was coming. And there were people flying. This was in the afternoon, and they're flying to New Orleans. I'm looking at him, and he says, are you people nuts? This thing's hitting overnight. Why are you flying to New Orleans? You got to be crazy. But they did, because they could. So now I'm watching the Today Show yesterday morning, and the news anchor, I even forget her name. I don't even know who it was. They had a live shot with Al Roker, saying, oh, okay, look at this. Then they went to Jim Cantore from the Weather Channel. He's in a parking lot, and there was some water in the parking lot because it was coming from the ocean. And then they went to the head hurricane guy for the U.S. in his headquarters. He's nice and dry. And they're talking about the hurricane, how it's going to go up the coast, it's going to hit Nantucket and all that stuff. There once was a hurricane from Nantucket. And the reporter goes, the anchor goes to him, do we know why these hurricanes are happening? It's like such a rare occurrence. He goes, no, they're not rare. It happens every year at this time. They're hurricanes. They have storms. And he goes to the whole thing, and he talks about in Houston and this and that and whatever. And she didn't seem happy with that response. So when she said goodbye, she says, because at first she made it sound like she didn't know what was going on. But her real thing was, it was the global warming. Because at the end, as she's saying goodbye, after he explained everything, like, don't worry, this is what happens, it's nature. She goes, well, one of the real factors is the water's a couple degrees warmer this year. No, it's every year there are hurricanes. Why have the head guy on, ask him the questions, if you're just going to tell him he's wrong, you know better? What's the point? Ann Curry, I'm told, is her name. There you go. Anyway, we have a few minutes left of the show. You're more than welcome to join in. 591-8900, 649, back after this on WLS.
Awake with Jake Hartford, 890 AM, WLS.
I was told I had stomach cancer that had spread to my lung. It wasn't good.
A Rush cancer patient and his caregivers tell his story.
Dick called me at the Comprehensive GI Cancer Clinic to schedule a second opinion. I set up the multidisciplinary conference right away.
10, 12 physicians went over his case with a fine-tooth comb. Instead of one incurable cancer, we found two different cancers, both of which were curable.
The team designed a step-by-step plan and shared it with Dick.
First, we removed his lung cancer with minimally invasive surgical techniques. Then we treated his stomach cancer with chemotherapy and radiation. And finally, we removed it.
It was multidisciplinary teamwork at its finest.
To meet Dick and other inspiring patients, visit rushstories.org. To make an appointment at Rush, call 1-888-352-RUSH.
I'm happy to be alive, and I feel great.
Rush University Medical Center. It's how medicine should be.
Hear that? That's the sound of recovery, of small businesses beginning to grow again. And at Chase, we're doing our part to help. We've committed $10 billion to small business lending. We're making loans more affordable with our lowest rates in years. And now we've designed the only loan that actually rewards you for hiring employees. Introducing the Loan for Hire only from Chase. Hire a new employee, get a lower rate. When your small business is approved for a new loan, you get an immediate half-point rate discount for each new employee you hire, up to 3 employees. And if your business checking is also with Chase, you'll get another half-point on top of that. That's as much as 2% off our lowest rates in years, which could save you thousands of dollars. It's the Loan for Hire only from Chase. The only loan designed to reward you for growing your business. Visit a branch or go to chase.com/loan-for-hire for details. Chase what matters.
Some restrictions, requirements, and fees may apply. Offer expires 12/31/2010. All lines of credit are subject to approval. Not valid in combination with any other lending offer. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC. Equal opportunity lender.
It's summer. College students are back, and you're driving on summer vacation. If you ever get in an accident, our exclusive Gerber Collision and Glass financing program can help you with your insurance deductible and repair costs completely interest-free. And with our 100% satisfaction guarantee, your car will be fixed right the first time. For a host of money-saving coupons and store locations, log on to GerberOffers.com or call 877-7-GERBER today.
Gerber Collision and Glass.
Gerber Collision and Glass. We come highly amended.
Amusement parks. Ice cream. Movies. Restaurants. Groceries. Dry cleaning. Now when you stay at Econo Lodge, get 30 days of access to thousands of discounts for restaurants, shopping, movie tickets, and more. It's 30 days of savings. A great way to give your wallet some R&R this summer. Stays must be booked at econolodge.com or 800-4CHOICE. Receive your access code via email for Econo Lodge stays booked from 7/29 to 9/22/2010. See econolodge.com for terms and conditions.
Ahead, turn left.
Wow, I need to get a GPS.
Well, don't get this one. See, this GPS isn't a TomTom, so it's missing about 1 million miles of road. And when you fall off the radar like we just did, you end up here in the middle of nowhere. Or is it the edge of nowhere? It's hard to tell.
An ordinary GPS with its incomplete maps can drop you right off the radar at any time. At TomTom, our maps give you over 1 million more miles of road in the U.S., so you're never stranded in no man's land. TomTom. Go confidently.
Olivet Nazarene University. Believe. Become.
I believe hats should be worn for function, not fashion. I believe one exclamation point is always enough. And I believe with the right education, I can become the best teacher I can be.
Relevant, current, and accredited, Olivet Nazarene University's Master of Education programs sharpen teachers' skills so they can develop the potential in their students while fulfilling the promise in themselves. Olivet. Believe. Become. Call 1-877-9-OLIVET.
Learn to avoid having a financial repeat of 2008. Listen to Securing Your Financial Future with the Goldstone Financial Group. Sunday mornings at 8.
The latest national news is just minutes away with ABC News updates at the top and bottom of every hour on 890 AM WLS.
I know that one of the factors is also that the water is a little warmer, a couple of degrees warmer this year, which is helping the Earl maintain its strength. Well, Bill Reed, thank you so much this morning.
You're listening to Jake Hartford on 890 AM WLS.
There was no strength. You see what I mean? That was it. It's warmer. What strength? There was a few people lost some power. Got the best hurricane coverage was a few years ago. Brian Williams was out somewhere. And he was interviewing this guy, some official, and the wind was really bad. And the guy went flying sideways about 20 feet. And they had to go grab the guy before he flew away. Although I do remember times Dan Rather would be like hanging onto a post. I don't understand that. Why they need to do that? Look at me. I'm out. It's raining and it's windy. When you're watching at home, do you say to yourself, wow? Do you say, that guy is brave, or do you say to yourself, wow, that guy is stupid? I know much like what you say when you're listening to this show. Wow, that guy is stupid. Although that hot chocolate thing was really good what he did. It would have played better on TV than radio. I understand that. We learned, do we learn anything in this show today? That's what we learned. Thank you very much. On Bewitched, Dick York came before Dick Sargent. And folks, you make up your own joke there, and you can email it to me at jake@WLSAM.com. And you know you want to, because you know y'all have jokes. Speaking of, and there's no better way to end the show than on a real sad note. As we come to the end of the show, I just saw it's coming across the wire, comedian Robert Schimmel, who you may have seen many times on HBO. He's had many specials and stuff. He has passed away at the age of 60. Apparently, he was in an auto accident. He was a passenger in the car that his daughter was driving the other day, and he passed away overnight. It was in Arizona. So, very, very sad news. Michael in Riverside, we have less than a minute left. What can I do for you?
Good morning, Jake. How are you?
I'm fine.
Hey, I was wondering where I might be able to, or if you can help me out in purchasing a 3-flat with nothing down and a full government backing on the loan.
I believe
this is the real estate show, right?
I believe Schaumburg. Now, you know what? That wasn't our fault. I have no idea what you're talking about. That wasn't our fault. Okay? That's right. Draw attention.
One of my 2 working ears heard it this morning, though.
It's nice to know you're still with us, Michael.
That's right. Anyway, NaCl, by the way, it tastes horrible in hot chocolate.
Well, you don't put it in hot chocolate.
Oh, okay. Well, you didn't tell me that.
But if you're making pasta, put plenty in the water. It helps the taste of the pasta.
Okay.
Bye-bye, Michael.
I will do that. Take care, Jake.
2 o'clock on Monday. Bye-bye.
Will do. Bye.
That's right. 2 o'clock Monday. I'll be here in for Rowan Roper at 2 and 6 on Labor Day. Paul Bryan coming up with Drive Chicago at 8 o'clock. Bye-bye.